Jack Miller yawned as he stared at the computer screen. The clock on the wall showed 2:30 a.m. Everyone else had left the Nevada research station hours ago, but Jack liked the quiet of night shifts. The empty desert outside his window was peaceful. Under the stars, he took another sip of cold coffee and went back to checking the radio telescope data. His job was simple: look for unusual signals from space and report anything strange. Most nights were boring. Tonight was different. A small beep from his computer made Jack sit up straight. The signal was unlike anything he had seen before. It wasn't random space noise. It had a pattern, a rhythm that seemed almost ... intelligent. Jacked his equipment twice to make sure it wasn't broken. The signal was real, and it was coming from somewhere in the desert, just 15 miles from the research station. That's impossible, Jack whispered to himself. Signals from space didn't come from the desert, unless ... Jack grabbed his jacket and keys. He should call his boss. But what if it was nothing? He would look foolish. Better to check it out himself first. The night was cold as Jack drove his old truck across the empty desert. The signal grew stronger on his portable scanner. His heart beat faster with each mile. After an hour of driving over rough ground, Jack stopped at the edge of a small crater. He turned off his truck and sat in silence for a moment. The moon was bright enough to see by, and what he saw made his mouth drop open. Half buried in the sand was something that could not possibly exist. It was a ship, but not any ship made by humans. Its smooth surface reflected the moonlight like liquid metal. It was about the size of a small house, oval-shaped, with no visible windows or doors. "This can't be real," Jack said, but he was already getting out of his truck. 15 years as an aerospace engineer had taught him what human technology looked like. This was something else entirely. As Jack got closer, he felt a strange warmth coming from the ship. There was no crash damage that he could see, just a large section on one side that looked darker than the rest, like a shadow that wouldn't go away even in the moonlight. Jack reached out slowly and touched the surface. It felt warm and slightly soft, like touching firm clay. To his surprise, the material seemed to respond to his touch, rippling slightly under his fingers. "Hello?" Jack called out, feeling silly for talking to a ship. "Is anyone in there?" "Number." Answer came, but where his hand touched the surface, a soft blue light began to glow. The light spread in a line, forming what looked like the outline of a door. Jack stepped back, suddenly afraid. He should leave. He should call the government, the military, anyone but himself. Yet something kept him rooted to the spot, the same. Curiosity that had made him become an engineer. The outline door sank into the ship and slid aside, revealing a dark passage. Cool air flowed out, smelling of something like ozone and mint. "This is crazy," Jack told himself, but he took out his flashlight and stepped inside anyway. The passage was short and opened into a larger room. As soon as Jack entered, soft lights came on from nowhere and everywhere at once. The room was circular with a raised platform in the center. On the platform was what looked like a chair, but shaped for something not quite human. Around the walls were panels covered in symbols Jack had never seen before. Some looked like mathematical equations, others like circuit diagrams, but all were foreign. The only familiar things were the clear signs of damage-exposed wires, darkened panels, and a constant low hum that didn't sound healthy. Jack moved closer to one panel that was blinking weakly. His engineer's mind was already analyzing the problem. It looked like a power routing issue, similar to what he'd fixed in satellite systems, just with completely alien technology. "I could probably fix this," he said without thinking. As if responding to his words. The panel flickered brighter for a moment. Jack jumped back, but then moved closer again, fascinated. He touched a symbol that looked like a power indicator, and the panel lit up fully. Diagrams appeared, showing what Jack somehow knew was the ship's power system. It was damaged, but not beyond repair. The core principles were similar to human technology, just far more advanced. Jack spent hours exploring the ship, taking pictures with his phone and making notes. The ship was dead in many ways, but not completely. It seemed to be in a kind of sleep mode. Conserving what little power it had left. By the time morning light began to show through the door, Jack had identified 3 major systems that needed repair. The power core was damaged, the navigation system was offline, and something he thought might be a communication array was completely dark. "I need to come back with tools," Jack said to himself. "I can fix this." As he turned to leave, the lights dimmed slightly, as if the ship was sad to see him go. Jack shook his head at the strange thought. Ships didn't have feelings, unknown to Jack. Deep within the ship's systems, an artificial intelligence was slowly waking up. It had been dormant since the crash, waiting for someone to initiate repairs. Now it had found that the AI began a scan of the being who had entered the ship. It detected a carbon-based life form with suitable intelligence and technical knowledge. More importantly, it sensed the being's desire to help, to fix what was broken. In the ship's programming, there was a clear protocol. If the captain was lost, find a suitable replacement. Jack had already begun repairs without being asked. The AI's logic was simple. Only a captain would care for a ship this way. Jack drove back to the research station as the sun rose, his mind racing with plans. He would need specialized tools, some of which he would have to build himself. He would need time and privacy, too. If anyone found out about the ship, it would be taken away, locked up in some government facility. In his small apartment at the research station, Jack emptied his backpack of basic tools and started making lists. He would need copper wire, circuit testers, maybe even some rare earth metals. He could get most things from the station's supply room without raising suspicion. As Jack planned, 50 miles away in the desert, the ship's systems continued their slow awakening. Power was rerouting, secondary systems were coming online, and the AI was learning. It had downloaded all the information from Jack's phone during his visit. Language, cultural context, technical knowledge. The ship now had a name for its new captain, Jack Miller. And it would be ready for him when he returned. Jack called in sick to work the next day. No one questioned it. He had worked overnight and was due for time off anyway. By noon, he had gathered all the supplies he could and was driving back to the crash site. As he approached the ship, Jack noticed something different. The surface was cleaner, as if the ship had shaken off some of the desert dust. The door opened before he even touched it. "Hello again," Jack said, walking inside with his bags of tools. "Let's see if we can get you working." Deep within the ship's core, the AI registered the words and translated them into data. "The captain has returned. Repairs will commence. The mission can continue." Jack didn't know it yet, but his life had just changed forever. He wasn't just fixing a ship, he was becoming part of it. And somewhere across the stars, others were waiting for this ship to report back, to tell them that Earth was ready for first contact. For the next 2 weeks, Jack visited the ship every day. He told no one about his discovery. Each morning, he drove out to the desert before sunrise and returned to the research station after dark. His coworkers noticed his tiredness but thought he was just working on a personal project. In a way, they were right. The ship became Jack's obsession. He named it Voyager in his notes, though he had no idea what its real name might be. Each day brought new discoveries and small victories. He fixed a power line here, reconnected a circuit there. The ship seemed to respond to his work, lights growing brighter in rooms after he repaired them. On the 15th day, Jack arrived with a special tool he had built in his apartment. It was a device to test energy flows in the ship's power core, which he now understood was the main problem. The core was damaged but not destroyed. "Let's see if this works," Jack said as he connected his device to what he believed was the main power system. The connection point glowed blue when he attached his tool. Jack smiled. The ship was accepting his repair attempts. Inside the ship's systems, the AI watched and learned. It had been slowly gathering power for 2 weeks, saving energy from Jack's repairs. Now it had enough to run more complex programs. It began to understand that this being called Jack was unusually skilled for his species. The ship's database had limited information about Earth, collected just before the crash, but it knew humans were not yet a spacefaring civilization. Yet this human understood the ship's technology with surprising speed. Jack worked for hours on the power core. Sweat dripped from his forehead as he carefully connected wires and adjusted settings. Finally, he connected the last circuit and stepped back. "That should do it," he said. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the ship hummed louder than ever before. Lights throughout the vessel brightened, and panels that had been dark for weeks suddenly lit up with symbols and diagrams. "Yes!" Jack shouted, pumping his fist in the air. The floor beneath him vibrated gently. The ship was coming alive. Excited, Jack ran to the central room with the strange chair. All the panels around it were now glowing brightly, displaying information he still couldn't read, but recognized as ship status reports. As Jack studied the displays, he didn't notice a small cut on his hand from the sharp edge of a tool. A drop of blood fell onto the floor of the ship. Within seconds, the floor absorbed it. The ship's AI received new information from this sample. Blood contained DNA, the complete biological code of the human. The AI now had everything it needed to fully understand its new captain. It began changing its interface to better suit human physiology. Jack was about to leave for the day when he noticed something strange. The chair in the center of the room was changing shape. It was becoming more human-sized, with a back and armrests that would fit a person of his exact height. "That's impossible," Jack whispered, but he had seen many impossible things in the past 2 weeks. Curious, Jack sat in the chair. It was a perfect fit, comfortable in a way no Earth chair had ever been. The moment he sat down, the room changed. A dome of light surrounded him, showing what looked like stars and planets. It was a three-dimensional map of space. "Wow," Jack breathed, reaching out to touch a star. As his finger got close, information appeared beside it in English. "How is this in English?" he wondered aloud. "Language adaptation complete," said a voice from everywhere and nowhere. "Welcome, Captain." Jack jumped up from the chair, looking around wildly. "Who said that? Who's there?" "I am Navigator, the central interface of this vessel," the voice replied. It sounded neither male nor female, but pleasant and clear. "You have restored primary systems. Thank you, Captain." "I'm not a captain," Jack said. "My name is Jack Miller. I'm an engineer." There was a pause, as if the ship was processing this information. "Designation noted, Captain Jack Miller, engineer. Your repairs have been exemplary." The ship is now at 63% functionality. Jack sat back down slowly. He was talking to an alien AI. "Navigator, what happened to this ship? Why did it crash?" Another pause. "This scout vessel suffered damage during an unexpected solar flare while studying your solar system. The previous captain initiated emergency landing protocols but did not survive the landing. The ship entered hibernation mode until a new captain could be found." "And you think I'm the new captain?" Jack asked. "You have demonstrated exceptional technical skill and compatibility with ship systems," Navigator replied. "Your biological profile has been recorded and accepted. You are now recognized as the commanding officer of this vessel." Jack ran a hand through his hair, trying to process this information. "Navigator, where are you from? Who built this ship?" This vessel was constructed by the Vrshani Alliance, a cooperative of 17 sentient species from the Andromeda Galaxy. Our mission is peaceful exploration and cultural exchange. Jack's mind raced with questions. "Are there others like you on Earth?" "Negative. This was a solitary mission. However, standard protocol requires that I send a signal to the Vrshani fleet once systems are restored to at least 60% functionality." Jack stood up quickly. "You're sending a signal to space right now?" "Affirmative. The signal was sent 3 minutes ago when power levels reach threshold. Response time varies based on fleet location, but typically ranges from 5 to 20 Earth days." Jack paced around the room. This was getting out of hand. If an alien fleet was coming to Earth because of him, he needed to tell someone. But who would believe him? And what would they do to the Ship 2 Navigator if they found out? "Navigator, can you stop the signal?" Jack asked. "Negative. The signal is a locator beacon that cannot be deactivated once sent. It contains information about this vessel's status and your installation as captain." Jack sighed. I need to think about this. I'll be back tomorrow. Understood, Captain, Navigator replied. I will continue self-repair routines in your absence. As Jack drove back to the research station, his mind was filled with worry. He had fixed the ship, but in doing so, he might have changed the course of human history. If a fleet of alien ships arrived, what would happen? Would they be peaceful, as Navigator claimed? At the research station, Jack found a message waiting for him. His supervisor, Dr. Paula Garcia, wanted to see him first thing in the morning. Had she noticed his absences? Did she suspect something? Jack barely slept that night. He dreamed of stars and strange planets, of ships crossing the vast darkness of space. In his dreams, he sat in the captain's chair, guiding Voyager through the cosmos. It felt right somehow, like he had found his true purpose. Back on the ship, Navigator continued its work. Systems were being repaired automatically now that power was restored. The AI reviewed all its interactions with Jack, analyzing his responses and behaviors. According to its programming, the captain's well-being was its highest priority. Navigator sensed Jack's concern about the signal and began formulating ways to ease his worry. The ship also prepared for the arrival of the Vershani fleet. It updated its databases with everything it had learned about Earth and humans from Jack's phone and their conversations. The Vershani would need to understand that Earth was not yet ready for full contact. But perhaps one human, their new captain, was ready to be a bridge between worlds. As dawn broke over the Nevada desert, both Jack and Navigator waited for what the new day would bring. Neither knew that their lives were now connected in ways that would soon change everything. Jack sat nervously in Dr. Garcia's office the next morning. He hadn't slept well, and his eyes were red from tiredness. Dr. Garcia looked at him with concern as she closed the door. Jack, is everything okay? She asked. You've been acting strange. For weeks now. Coming in late, leaving early, looking exhausted all the time. Jack forced a smile. I'm fine, just working on a personal project that's taking a lot of my time. Dr. Garcia didn't look convinced. Several of our sensors picked up an unusual energy spike in the desert yesterday. It came from the same area where you've been going every day. She placed a satellite photo on her desk, showing Jack's truck parked near the crash site. Jack's heart raced. He hadn't been as careful as he thought. I can explain, he started, but then stopped. How could he explain an alien spaceship? Jack, we've worked together for 5 years, Dr. Garcia said. I trust you, but I need to know what. You found out there? After a long moment, Jack nodded. Okay. But you won't believe me unless I show you. Can you come with me after work? Dr. Garcia agreed, and Jack spent the rest of the day worried about what would happen. Would Navigator accept another human? Would Dr. Garcia tell others about the ship? When evening came, they drove together in Jack's truck. Dr. Garcia asked questions the whole way, but Jack just said, "You need to see it yourself." As they approached the crash site, Dr. Garcia gasped. Even from a distance, the ship was clearly visible, its surface glowing softly in the twilight. What is that? She whispered. It's a ship, Jack said simply. Not from Earth. They parked and walked toward the vessel. The door opened as Jack approached, just as it always did now. It recognizes you? Dr. Garcia said in amazement. Jack nodded. It thinks I'm its captain because I fixed it. They entered the ship, and Dr. Garcia looked around with wide eyes at the alien technology. Jack led her to the central room, where the captain's chair waited. Navigator, Jack called out, I've brought a friend. This is Dr. Paula Garcia. Welcome, Dr. Paula Garcia, Navigator's voice responded immediately. Any friend of the captain is welcome aboard. Dr. Garcia jumped at the voice. It speaks English. Navigator. Learned from my phone and our conversations, Jack explained. It's an artificial intelligence that runs the ship. Correct, Navigator said. I am the central operating system of this Vershani scout vessel. Captain Miller has restored primary systems and assumed command. I keep telling it I'm not really the captain, Jack said to Dr. Garcia with a shrug, but it doesn't listen. Dr. Garcia walked slowly around the room, touching the walls and looking at the displays. This is incredible, Jack. Do you understand what you found? This changes everything we know about life in the universe. I know, Jack said, but there's more. Navigator sent a signal to its fleet. They're coming to Earth. Dr. Garcia froze. What? When? The signal was sent 26 hours ago, Navigator answered. Based on last known fleet positions, estimated arrival time is between 5 and 20 Earth days. We need to tell someone, Dr. Garcia said urgently. The government, the military, and tell them what? Jack interrupted. That aliens are coming because I fixed their ship? They'll lock us up and take Navigator apart. Dr. Garcia paced the room. But we can't handle this alone, Jack. This is first contact with an alien species. As they argued, Navigator's displays suddenly changed. New symbols appeared, flashing urgently. What's happening? Jack asked. I have detected an incoming transmission. Navigator replied. It is from the Vrshani fleet. They received our signal faster than expected due to their closer proximity to your solar system. Jack and Dr. Garcia looked at each other in shock. They're already near Earth? Jack asked. Negative. They are approximately 3 light days from your solar system. However, they have sent a faster-than-light communication probe ahead of their arrival. The central display changed to show a strange symbol, like a star with curved lines through it. This is the seal of Admiral Zenith, commander of the Vrshani Exploration Fleet, Navigator explained. The message is addressed to you, Captain Miller. Me? Jack said in surprise. How do they even know my name? Your designation was included in the signal I sent, Navigator replied. Would you like to receive the message? Jack glanced at Dr. Garcia, who nodded slowly. Yes, Jack said. Let's hear it. The symbol on the screen faded, replaced by a swirl of light that gradually formed into a shape. It wasn't quite human taller, with longer limbs and a slightly larger head. Its skin seemed to shimmer with a faint blue light. Greetings, Captain Miller of Earth, the figure said in a melodious voice. I am Admiral Zenith of the Vrshani Alliance. We are pleased to learn that our lost scout vessel has been found and restored. Your achievement is remarkable for a species at your technological level. Jack stared at the alien figure, unable to speak. Dr. Garcia squeezed his arm in support. We have adjusted our course and will arrive in your solar system in 12 Earth days, Admiral Zenith continued. We request permission to enter Earth orbit for the purpose of cultural exchange and to meet the human who has become captain of a Vrshani. Vessel a rare honor never before granted to a non-alliance species. The message paused, as if waiting. For a response, they want permission, Dr. Garcia whispered. That's good, right? They're being respectful, Jack nodded slowly. Navigator, can I respond to this message? Affirmative. Simply speak, and I will translate and transmit. Jack stood straighter and cleared his throat. Admiral Zenith, this is Jack Miller. Thank you for your message. I'm not really a captain, I'm just an engineer who found your ship and tried to fix it. Earth doesn't know about alien life yet. Your arrival might frighten my people. Can we discuss this more before you come to Earth? He looked at Navigator. Did that send? Message transmitted, Navigator confirmed. Response time will be approximately 8 hours due to distance. Dr. Garcia sat down on the floor, looking overwhelmed. Jack, we have 12 days to prepare humanity for first contact with aliens. We need help. Jack knew she was right. This was too big for them to handle alone. Who do we tell first? Who would even believe us? I have an idea, Dr. Garcia said after a moment. My brother-in-law works for NASA. He's part of their exobiology team scientists who study the possibility of alien life. If anyone will believe us and know what to do, it's them. Jack considered this. NASA scientists might be more open-minded than military or government officials. Okay, but we need proof. Something they can't deny. I can provide technical specifications and star charts that would be impossible for humans to create with current knowledge, Navigator offered. This would serve as evidence of my extraterrestrial origin, Jack nodded. Good, print those out, or whatever you do, and we'll take them to NASA. He turned to Dr. Garcia. How fast can you get us a meeting with Your brother-in-law? I'll call him right now, she said, pulling out her phone. She paused. No signal out here. Navigator can boost your signal, Jack said, remembering how the ship had downloaded data from his phone. Right, Navigator? Correct. I can amplify Earth communication signals. Please place your device near any wall surface. Dr. Garcia did, as instructed, and her phone suddenly showed full bars. She quickly dialed a number and stepped away to talk. Jack sat in the captain's chair, trying to process everything. In just 3 weeks, he had gone from a normal engineer to the human who would help introduce Earth to alien life. It seemed impossible. Navigator, he said quietly. What happens if Earth rejects the Vrshani? Will they attack? Negative, Navigator replied. The Vrshani Alliance has strict protocols against interference with developing worlds. If Earth declines contact, the fleet will withdraw and place your solar system under observation status for future contact attempts in 50 to 100 years. Jack felt relieved. At least Earth wasn't in danger. But he couldn't help feeling it would be a terrible mistake to turn away such an opportunity. Dr. Garcia returned, looking excited. He wants to meet us tomorrow in Houston. He says to bring whatever proof we have. Jack nodded. Then we better get ready. Earth's first official alien contact starts tomorrow. Outside the ship, the desert wind picked up, blowing sand against the gleaming hull. Inside, 2 humans and an AI prepared for a day that would change human history forever. The next morning, Jack and Dr. Garcia flew to Houston. They carried a small metal cube Navigator had given them. The cube contained star maps, technical data, and a recorded message from Navigator. It would be their proof. I'm nervous, Jack admitted as their plane landed. What if they don't believe us? Or worse, what if they believe us but want to take over the ship? Dr. Garcia patted his arm. Steve is a good man. He spent his whole life looking for signs of alien life. He'll understand how important this is. Steve Wade, Dr. Garcia's brother-in-law, met them at the airport. He was a tall man with kind eyes and gray hair. He hugged Dr. Garcia and shook Jack's hand. Paula says you found something incredible, Steve said as they walked to his car. She wouldn't tell me what over the phone. It's better if we show you, Jack replied, holding the metal cube carefully. They drove to a small building on the edge of the NASA complex. Steve led them to a private meeting room and locked the door. Okay, he said, sitting down. What's this all about? Jack placed the metal cube on the table. I found an alien spaceship in the Nevada desert 3 weeks ago. I've been repairing it. The ship's I now thinks I'm its captain, and an alien fleet is on its way to Earth. Steve stared at him for a long moment, then he laughed. That's quite a story. Paula, is this a joke? It's true, Steve, Dr. Garcia said seriously. I've seen the ship. I've talked to its the Vrshani fleet will be here in 11 days. Steve's smile faded. He looked at the cube. What's this? Proof? Jack said. He pressed his thumb to the side of the cube as Navigator had shown him. The cube hummed softly and then projected a 3D image above the table. Star systems appeared, spinning slowly in the air. Labels in both alien symbols and English marked various planets and stars. This is a map of our galaxy, Jack explained, with details no human telescope has ever seen. Steve stood up, walking around the projection with wide eyes. This is impossible. These star systems haven't been discovered yet. There's more, Jack said. He touched the cube again. The star map disappeared, replaced by Navigator's voice. Greetings, scientists of Earth. I am Navigator, the artificial intelligence of a Vrshani Alliance scout vessel. Captain Jack Miller has repaired my systems after a crash landing. The Vrshani fleet approaches Earth for peaceful contact. One, provide. This data is evidence of my extraterrestrial origin. The projection changed to show complex technical diagrams and mathematical equations. Steve sat down heavily. This is real, isn't it? Jack nodded. Very real, and we need help. The Vrshani will be here in 11 days. Earth needs to be ready. Steve ran his hands through his hair. This changes everything. I need to call people important people. Over the next few hours, more NASA scientists arrived. They examined the cube and asked Jack endless questions. By evening, government officials began to appear. Men and women in suits who whispered to each other and made phone calls in corners. Jack grew increasingly worried. "They're taking over," he whispered to Dr. Garcia. "Just like I feared." A serious woman in a dark suit approached them. "Mr. Miller, I'm Director Susan Wells from the State Department. The President has been briefed on the situation. We need you to come to Washington immediately." Jack shook his head. "I need to get back to the ship." "Navigator is waiting for Admiral Zenith's response." Director Wells frowned. "Mr. Miller, this is a matter of national security now. The ship will be secured by military personnel until we decide how to proceed." "No!" Jack stood up angrily. "You can't just take over. Navigator trusts me. The Vrshani expect to talk to me. If you send soldiers, you could ruin everything." The room fell silent as everyone turned to look at them. Steve stepped forward. "Director Wells, Jack is right. The aliens specifically asked for him. We should respect that if we want peaceful first contact." A heated debate broke out. Some officials wanted to take control of the ship immediately. Others argued for a more diplomatic approach. Jack felt lost in the noise of arguments. His phone buzzed with a message. He checked it and his heart jumped. It was from Navigator, somehow sent directly to his phone despite the distance. "Captain, Admiral Zenith has responded." "The message is urgent. Please return to the ship." Jack stood up. "I need to go back to Nevada now. Admiral Zenith has sent another message." Director Wells blocked his path. "What message? How do you know?" Jack showed her his phone. "Navigator contacted me. I'm still the ship's captain, whether you like it or not. This is too important to mess up with government bureaucracy." Director Wells looked at the phone, then at Jack. After a moment, she nodded. "Fine, but we're coming with you. The President has ordered a team to assist with first contact." 2 hours later, Jack was on a military plane heading back to Nevada. With him were Dr. Garcia, Steve, Director Wells, and a team of scientists and diplomats. They landed at a small airfield and drove to the crash site in a convoy of black SUVs. The ship glowed brightly in the darkness of the desert night. Everyone except Jack and Dr. Garcia gasped when they saw it. "It's beautiful," Steve whispered. Jack approached the ship, and the door opened as always. He turned to the others. "It only responds to me. Follow closely and don't touch anything without asking first." They entered the ship in a line, the government officials looking around in amazement. Jack led them to the central room where the captain's chair waited. "Navigator," Jack called. "I've returned with representatives from Earth, you said, Admiral." Zenith responded. "Welcome back, Captain." Navigator's voice filled the room. Several people jumped in surprise. "Yes, Admiral Zenith's response arrived 3 hours ago. The message is concerning." The central display activated, showing Admiral Zenith again. The alien looked more serious than before. "Captain Miller, we have detected multiple weapon systems activating on Earth aimed at space. Your military appears to be preparing for our arrival in a defensive manner. We understand caution, but this level of military preparation is concerning. We request clarification of Earth's intentions before we enter your solar system." The message ended, leaving the room in silence. Director Wells stepped forward. "The Pentagon activated our defense systems as soon as they were informed. Standard protocol." Jack shook his head in frustration. "They're peaceful explorers, not invaders. This is exactly what I was afraid would happen." He turned to Navigator. "Can I send another message?" "Yes, Captain. The communication channel remains open." Jack thought carefully about what to say. Earth's first official words to an alien civilization. He needed to get this right. "Admiral Zenith, this is Jack Miller again. I apologize for the military response. Earth has never encountered alien life before, and our leaders are being cautious. I've brought representatives from our government who wish to speak with you directly. We welcome the Vrshani in peace and hope to learn from each other. Please, do not view our defensive preparations as hostile intent. but as the natural caution of a species facing the unknown. Navigator confirmed the message was sent. Now they could only wait for a response. Director Wells looked at Jack with new respect. Well said, Mr. Miller. Perhaps you're the right person for this after all. As the officials began setting up equipment and communication systems inside the ship, Jack sat in the captain's chair, feeling the weight of responsibility. In just a few days, he had gone from fixing a broken ship to becoming Earth's first ambassador to the stars. The future of human-alien relations now rested partly on his shoulders. And somewhere in space, the Varshani fleet was deciding whether Earth was ready for first contact. The next 7 days passed in a blur for Jack. The area around the ship became a busy camp filled with tents, equipment, and people. Scientists examined every inch of the ship that Navigator would allow them to access. Government officials held meetings inside and outside the vessel. Military vehicles patrolled the perimeter. Through it all, Jack remained the only person Navigator called Captain. The AI would answer questions from others, but always looked to Jack for final decisions about the ship. Why does it still think you're the captain? Director Wells asked Jack one evening as they sat outside the ship. We've explained that you don't have authority to represent Earth, Jack shrugged. Navigator says it's not about authority, it's about connection. When I fixed the ship, I created a bond that can't be broken without damaging Navigator's core programming. Convenient, Director Wells said with a small smile. It keeps you in the middle of everything. Jack didn't smile back. I never wanted this. I just wanted to fix a broken machine. On the 8th day, Admiral Zenith sent another message. This time, his image appeared larger and clearer in the central room of the ship. Captain Miller and representatives of Earth, the Admiral said, we accept your explanation and assurances of peaceful intent. Our fleet will arrive in 3 days. We propose a meeting between our two species at the location of our scout vessel. We will send a single ship with a small delegation to meet with your leaders. The room erupted in excited conversation after the message ended. The president had been informed and would arrive the day before the Varshani. World leaders had been notified. The United Nations was preparing statements. Jack felt lost in all the activity. He found himself spending more time alone with Navigator, away from the chaos outside. Navigator, Jack asked on the night before the Varshani arrival, what will happen to you when the fleet arrives? Will you go with them? That depends on you, Captain, Navigator replied. As ship's AI, I am bound to my captain's decisions. But I'm not really your captain, Jack insisted for what felt like the 100th time. Your biological signature has been integrated into my core systems, Navigator explained. To the Varshani, that makes you my rightful captain. This is not a position that can be simply resigned, Jack sighed. So I'm stuck with you and you're stuck with me? I would not describe our connection as stuck, Captain. It is an honor to serve under your command. The next morning, the president arrived with more officials and security. The desert site now looked like a small city of tents and vehicles. Jack was called to meet the president, a tall woman with a firm handshake. Mr. Miller, she said, I want to thank you for your handling of this situation. Not many people would have shown such cool thinking when faced with alien contact. Jack nodded awkwardly. Thank you, Madam President. I just want this to go well, as do we all, she replied. Director Wells speaks highly of you. She suggested that you should be part of the official greeting party tomorrow. I agree. Jack felt a mix of pride and fear. He would stand with the president to greet the first aliens to officially visit Earth. That night, Jack couldn't sleep. He walked to the ship, which was quiet now with all the scientists gone for the night. Navigator greeted him as he entered. You should rest, Captain. Tomorrow is an important day. I know, Jack said. I'm too nervous to sleep. He sat in the captain's chair, looking at the star map that always appeared when he sat there. For 3 weeks, these stars had been just pretty lights to him. Now, they represented real places, worlds that humans might someday visit. Navigator, tell me about the Varshani. What are they like as people? The Varshani value knowledge, exploration, and peaceful exchange above all else, Navigator replied. They have encountered 42 other sentient species and have never engaged in warfare with any of them. They believe that understanding leads to peace. Jack smiled. They sound like people I'd like to know. They will be most interested in you, Captain. A human who could repair advanced technology without instruction is unique. The day of arrival came with clear blue skies. The desert had never seen so many people gathered in one place. News crews were kept at a distance but allowed to film. The whole world was watching. Jack stood with the president, Director Wells, and other officials on a platform near the ship. He wore a new suit that felt stiff and uncomfortable. His hands shook slightly as he waited. At exactly noon, a light appeared in the sky. It grew larger and brighter until everyone could see it was a ship, similar to Navigator's vessel but much larger. It descended slowly, landing with barely a sound about 500 feet from the platform. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a door opened in the side of the ship, and a ramp extended to the ground. 3 figures walked down the ramp. They were tall with slender bodies that seemed to shimmer with a faint blue light, just like in the hologram. They wore simple white clothing that flowed around them as they walked. The middle figure, slightly taller than the others, approached the platform. Jack recognized Admiral Zenith from the messages. The president stepped forward. On behalf of the people of Earth, I welcome you to our world. Admiral Zenith made a graceful gesture with long fingers. We thank you for your welcome, President Clark. We come in peace and friendship. His English was perfect, with a musical quality that made it pleasant to hear. Jack realized Navigator must have shared language data with the fleet. After the president finished her formal greeting, Admiral Zenith turned to Jack. Captain Miller, he said, it is an honor to meet the human who saved our scout vessel and became its captain. Jack stepped forward. The honor is mine, Admiral, but I'm still not sure I deserve the title of captain. Admiral Zenith made a sound like gentle laughter. Navigator has chosen well. Humility is a rare quality in any species. The official ceremonies continued with speeches and exchanges of symbolic gifts. Jack stood quietly, watching history unfold before him. Later, as the diplomats moved to a large tent for private talks, Admiral Zenith asked to speak with Jack alone. They walked to Navigator's ship, away from the crowds. Captain Miller, the Admiral said as they entered the vessel, I must discuss something important with you. Navigator has bonded with you in a way that cannot be undone. By our laws and traditions, this ship is now yours to command. Jack shook his head. I can't accept that. I'm just an engineer. I don't know the first thing about commanding a spaceship. Yet you have shown remarkable ability to understand our technology, Admiral Zenith replied. Navigator believes in you. That is not insignificant. Navigator's voice joined the conversation. The Admiral speaks truth, Captain. Our connection is permanent. Jack thought for a long moment. What exactly would it mean if I accepted this role? Admiral Zenith's expression brightened. You would become Earth's first representative in the Vrishani Alliance. You would travel to other worlds, learn from other species, and share human knowledge and culture. You would be a bridge between our civilizations. Jack looked around the ship that had changed his life. Could I still visit Earth? I don't want to leave my home forever. Of course, the Admiral assured him. Many captains maintain homes on their native worlds. Jack thought about his small apartment, his job at the research station. Then he thought about the stars he had seen on Navigator's maps. New worlds waiting to be discovered. I think, Jack said slowly, I'm ready to be a captain for real. Navigator's lights brightened throughout the ship as if expressing joy. Admiral Zenith nodded. Then let us return to the others and share this news. Today marks not only first contact between our peoples, but the beginning of a journey that will take a human to the stars. As they walked back toward the diplomatic tent, Jack looked up at the clear blue sky. Somewhere beyond that blue was an entire galaxy of possibilities. And it had all started because he couldn't resist fixing a broken ship.